hot and I'm sweaty and I'm trying to fix the vents. And the more I think back on it now, I think Lex knew. I think Lex was extremely smart, extremely smart. I think Lex had already gone through this.
Buff Bagwell tells the story about when he learned that he was an addict. Let's see what Buff has to say.
Here, I saw this one. Favorite memory of Miss Elizabeth. May she rest in peace.
Oh, gosh. I got a bunch of great memories with her, but I think just the car rides we had. So it seems like 10 years, but it was probably 3. But for 3 years, me, Lex, and Liz were a family on the road. So Lex drove, and then I sat in the passenger, and then a cooler sat behind Lex, full of Coors Lights, and then Miss Elizabeth sat behind me, and that's how we rode for 3 years, and just shared life together, because you get to really know somebody on the road because you're around them a lot. 300-mile car drives. You get to talking and knowing each other very well. And so I don't really have one specific memory on Miss Elizabeth. Just several hundred great trips sharing and talking about life.
Excellent. I imagine you just get to know people on just a crazy level when you're on the road too. So I can only imagine how close you guys, grew in those 3 years.
It's hard to hide anything I remember Miss Elizabeth was in the car the day I talk about knowing that I was addicted to pills. Like, I remember I got in the car in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I can't remember the year, but I remember I got in the car and I didn't feel good. Like, taking a pill or drinking a beer in the daytime wasn't happening. That was losers and alcoholics and drug addicts did that.
Right.
Well, I woke up and I was feeling different. I was feeling funny, and I didn't know why. And I get in the car, man. Lex always kept the car freezing. I get in the car and I'm hot and I'm sweaty and I'm trying to fix the vents. And the more I think back on it now, I think Lex knew. I think Lex was extremely smart, extremely smart. I think Lex had already gone through this. I think he had already felt this way and just was letting me just see if I could figure it out the more I really think about it. Because at that junction of me starting to almost panic with vents and cracking the window and just not knowing what it is, as calmly and as coolly as you could say it, Lex said, if you take a couple of pills and drink a beer, that'll go away. And I went, what? And he goes, and the look of his face just told me to do it, because that's the look he had, was like, I'm telling you, bro, this is what's going on. But I still hadn't put all of it together. And so I take a couple of somas and I drink a beer and it went away.
All right. So withdrawals.
Looking back on it, I was going through withdrawals.
Right.
And that was day one of me never really having fun again, taking pills and alcohol.
Because now you have to do it.
Now I gotta do it.
To not go through that feeling.
Yeah, I've got it. Now I gotta take them so I don't feel like that. And there went the beers after nitro. Now we're waking up. Now we still didn't do it in the daytime a lot yet. We still got our workouts in and all that. But it was the days were counted, and the days were numbered for sure of the days we didn't drink before nitro. I still, thank God, I don't know how, but I never showed up on TV drunk. I never messed that one up. But right after I was trying to fix what was wrong, which was withdrawals from all day,
Right. Well, it sounds like you were a functioning addict. So does that make does that make it then harder for you to have that aha moment of, hey, I got to stop doing this, because you're still paying the bills, you're still making nitro, making thunder, doing everything you have to do. I mean,
Oh
that
yeah,
to me, it's got to make it harder for you to, to say, hey, I got a problem, I have to stop now.
yeah. Even my dad came to me and he goes, "I know you got a problem." He goes, "But what am I going to tell you, that you're doing it wrong?" He
Right.
goes, "You look incredible. You live in a mansion." He goes, "Hell, I work for you." He goes, "How can I tell you you're doing it wrong?" He said, so they came at me with showing me how much money I was spending. And to this day, I never looked at it. I never looked at it because I knew if I looked at it, I wasn't going to stop. And I'd have been really depressed on how much money I'd been spending. So I just never looked at the bill. I never looked at the money I was spending, because it didn't matter. I was I was in it, and I was going to stay in it.
So let me ask you this on the same topic. What was the moment where you said, I have to stop? We talked about being functional addict, functioning through, your job, your personal life. What made you say, I'm going to change right here, right now?
It had to be. Um, it first hit me with the car wreck when here I am now. I've crippled myself where I'm injured for the rest of my life. Now I should definitely be in prison or dead on this one. I should be one or the other, for sure. And that was hovering big, but it still wasn't quite enough. And then when Dallas came at me and said, "If you don't clean up, I'm out," and he was all I had left of wrestling. I'd blown every other possibility of anybody helping me with wrestling. And Dallas came to me and said, "If you don't go to rehab, I'm done." I said, "Look, bro, I'll go, but I'm telling you, I can't sleep." you know. And I believe this. It was a story I tell myself, and Dallas has a lot of videos about that. And that was a story I told myself, that I couldn't sleep. And I said, "I'll go to rehab, brother. I want to, ain't like I want to do this. I want to get clean, but I'm telling you, I can't sleep." So the aha moment I had through all of the, "I'll go to rehab again," and car wreck and all that blah, blah, blah stuff, the aha moment I had was I had slept through the night a couple of nights in a row at Black Bear Rehab. And I remember waking up at 6 a.m. and I'd looked at the clock and I'd slept for like 6 hours, which had never happened in the last 15 years. And I said, "I may be able to do this. I may be able to do this." And I had a little bit of hope then, and that hope just got bigger and bigger. And when I got done with that 30 days, man, I was on the right track. And 2 years later, here I am.
Interesting. I mean, it's
But
great to hear that for people, because some people, I know a lot of people that attribute it to Dallas Page, as you have, but I think it really comes from you at the end of the day. I mean,
oh yeah, it
you
does.
came to that, yeah, you came to that realization
Sure.
through those.
Wow, that was that was deep stuff. I mean, that was really deep stuff from Buff Bagwell. Hearing his story about when he realized, when he was an addict. And I'm glad to see that he's sober now, and I'm glad to hear that he learned he didn't have to use these drugs as a crutch anymore to help him sleep, or whatever he was using to justify it to himself. I'm glad that he's no longer using it as a crutch. I'm glad that he's found sobriety. I hope he stays sober, because it sounds horrible to be addicted like that. And even though he seemed to be functioning, yeah, because I don't remember any times where he was on TV and he looked like he was out of it or anything like that. So, I don't remember him being on screen like that, but it seems like it really had a power over him over a long time. And I can't imagine just living, your life that way, where you can't just go throughout your day without taking some kind of drug, or alcohol or something like that. And so, and I think Lex and Elizabeth were going through the same thing. And, look, Lex is in a wheelchair learning how to walk. DDP's helping him walk. And unfortunately, Miss Elizabeth's not with us anymore. So this is like the darker side of pro wrestling. Hopefully anyone out there that needs any help, go. I don't have any. I'm sorry, I don't have any resources for you on here. But I hope that you seek help and that you get the help that you need. Because I can't imagine living your life like that. What do you guys think of this clip, though? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoy content like this. Smash that like button. And if you do enjoy content like this, I got more goodies for you on the screen to click away and enjoy.